Like they just announced the Pro Bowl rosters. You guys are 12-3 and only have two Pro Bowlers. Just curious your reaction. Does that irk you at all, or anything like that?
Nope, does not at all.
What does that say about maybe the season you guys are having?
It says that we're 12-3 and that we have two guys that the coaches and the fans and the players thought worthy enough to make the first ballot. We've got some alternates. I wouldn't imagine that would be, I'm sure guys are disappointed. There's however many five punt returners that had two touchdowns. I mean, I don't know how many years that's happened, but am I right there? But, I think Marcus has had a hell of a year, and I think he's a Pro Bowler. I'm glad he's our returner and glad he's helped us out. But sometimes, that just doesn't happen. And we're focused on wins. We said that last week. The players, they make fun of me, but, we're chasing wins and not plays. And if we make enough plays that are winning, that'll be enough. That'll be all we need. And so, don't really have much else to add on the Pro Bowl.
We all we got, we all we need, right? I mean, even Mike Vrabel's picking that one up. But I was laughing listening to that because it was just so good, right? I mean, it was like that was a gift. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Coach Vrabel. Yeah. That was a gift. Look, I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if when he walked in before the cameras cut on, if he was like, somebody asked me about the Pro Bowl so I can crap all over it, because he clearly does not care. Like, nor should he. I don't think any coach should care about the Pro Bowl, but he's like, dude, whatever, man. Get out of my face with this garbage. Let me dump all over it. And I appreciate the Marcus Jones shout out. That was the first guy I thought of, was like, how the heck did that guy not make the Pro Bowl? But again, it doesn't matter. And this team should be playing or trying to play for a spot in the real game that week, not the fake, like, we're going to all play dodgeball thing. So they shouldn't even be worried about it. I do think it's funny, though, that they gave him a platform and he took full advantage of it.
Yeah, 100%. And yes, Marcus Jones was certainly the one that came to mind, when it comes to snubs. He was out there on a lot of lists when it came to Pro Bowl snubs. The best returner in the NFL isn't a Pro Bowler. Obviously, Los Talks Pats, among those sharing that thought, when it came to the two guys that were voted into the Pro Bowl, it was Drake Maye, obviously, and Christian Gonzalez, which no surprise there, right? But it was interesting to see the way things went, right? I mean, like Tyler Warren didn't get in as a tight end. That was kind of an interesting one. Zay Flowers gets in. I mean, there were certainly some that, you sit there and you go, okay, right? I mean, Baltimore had 6 Pro Bowlers, notably Lamar, not one of them this year. So that was a first in a number of years for him. Obviously, he hasn't had the season that he's had in recent years either. But look, there's always going to be some selections, and there's obviously some change, and with alternates and all those kinds of things. But it's a bit of a popularity contest at times as well. So there's that element to it as well. It's just part of it.
I've never had a problem with the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing. Couldn't care less. Literally, I never had a feeling about it until he leads all players in Pro Bowl voting. That is a travesty. Like, it's the worst thing. No pun intended. It's the worst thing that could have happened for the Pro Bowl, because I think they're not going to be able to allow fans to vote anymore. He was objectively not good at football this year. And you have a guy who, just because he's dating the most popular woman on the planet, he gets more votes than anybody else, so they have to put him in. Like, I get it. He's a Hall of Fame tight end. He deserves all the credit in the world for his career. This season, like 9th in the AFC, I think is probably more apt for his level of play. Like you mentioned Tyler Warren, there are probably 3 or 4 other tight ends in the AFC who deserve to make it. And it sucks for them because these are young players who haven't made their money yet, a lot of them, and they're not getting any sort of recognition or, you make money when you go to the Pro Bowl, all that stuff. That it genuinely sucks for those guys. So I think that's something to remember too when you're voting next year and you want to vote for all Patriots. Some of these guys deserve to get in, and when they don't, because everybody voted for the like you mentioned, it's a popularity contest. Everybody voted for the popular players. It really does have an impact on some of these guys. So remember that for next year. Travis Kelce should never make another Pro Bowl. I'll get off my soapbox.
11th Pro Bowl for not just
Ridiculous.
Taylor Swift's boyfriend, fiance. Remember, they're engaged.
Whatever, man.
Okay. He's tied with Jason Witten for second most Pro Bowl selections. Only Tony Gonzalez has more when it comes to tight ends. So look, you could go on and on about who's in, who's out, and the way things stand for the Pro Bowl. But the reality is that's the game on Tuesday out there in San Francisco, Super Bowl week. The big game is Super Bowl Sunday. Some other accolades handed out yesterday, and this one in the form of a contract extension for Ben Brown for the Patriots. I thought it was, look, it's always noteworthy when they get something done in season like this, right? Because I just think it's a nod to what a franchise sees in a player and the willingness to just say, all right, let's just do this, right? Ben Brown talked a little bit about it yesterday.
Unbelievable feeling. I love it here. I'm so very thankful to the Kraft family, to Coach Vrabes, to Elliott, and everyone else for believing in me and being able to give me this opportunity. And, I'm just going to do my best out there and, do what I can to help this football team to continue to win. So,
sorry, wasn't that long ago that you're bouncing on some different practice squads?
Yeah.
What did it mean for you? Sort of like it's a reflective question to come here last year, get the opportunity, and it leads to this.
Yeah, I'd say really just it's been a crazy kind of career for me. Getting injured in college and then going undrafted and then kind of bouncing around teams, really not knowing what was going on and everything. But for me, ultimately just trusting God's plan for me, whether that was continuing to play in the NFL and getting an opportunity like I have today or, it ending. But I had confidence and comfort in that at the end of the day. And this is just an unbelievable blessing that I have. And, I give all praise and honor to God for this.
Our congrats to Ben Brown. Obviously a great Christmas gift for him as he's celebrating this 2-year contract. Mike Reese reporting the max value is $6.6 million on it. But significant, I think, for the team to get this done and, check box, sort of move forward, having some stability there.
Yeah, it's a guy who you heard it in that clip where they talked about he kind of bounced around from practice squad to practice squad and never really had a role anywhere. And he's the classic example of he was given an opportunity in a really bad situation. Like last year, late in the season, he finally becomes the full-time starting center. And it didn't go well. Like he personally played fine, but it didn't go great for the team. And kind of all the negativity surrounding the whole situation didn't really rub off on him at all. He was able to stay with the futures contract, coming into the offseason and just worked. And going into the offseason, he was the number 4 center on the depth chart, if you included Jared Wilson. And he just outlasted everybody else. And he's kind of their swing interior guy. You never hear that anymore. It's usually a swing tackle, and then you have your backups at guard and center. If anyone goes down on the interior, he's the next man up. They trust him that much. Left guard, center, right guard, doesn't matter. We've seen it earlier this year with Jared Wilson going down. I'm sure there will be points moving forward where if a guy's out of the lineup on the interior, they're just going to have him step up and be the guy. And to be able to bring some stability in an unstable situation, which is what he did last year, that's worth its weight in gold. So he deserves the contract extension. A lot of guys will... It's just kind of their turn to get paid. I wouldn't use that to describe this situation. It was this guy earned it, and we're gonna give him what he deserves. It just wasn't his turn. He didn't run out of his rookie contract, and it was time. This is a guy who's valuable to our football team, and we need to make sure that he sticks around. So all the credit to him, all the credit to the Patriots for recognizing that, and hopefully he's around for a lot longer than just 2 years, because I think he's about as valuable an offensive lineman as you can have, a guy who can play 3 positions and do all of it pretty well.
Yeah. Look, we all know that strong offensive linemen who can add versatility are very difficult to come by. That is not
Right.
something to take for granted. And I think it's terrific to see the organization appreciate that and value that, which is exactly what we saw them do, by handing out this contract. Another award handed out yesterday to center Garrett Bradbury. This one, the Good Guy Award, which was, presented obviously for his interaction and checking the box in a positive way for his obligations when it comes to dealing with the reporters and all of those things. But look, I mean, that's a significant part of the game. And it's nice to see that recognized, I guess, Keagan, would be the way I would describe it.
Yeah, it's cool. They introduced it, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. It's been around for maybe even longer than that. It's been around for a while. And if you think about the guys who have won it, Devin McCourty, Matthew Slater, James White, Jacoby Myers, just guys who no one ever had a bad thing to say about them during or after their career, especially off the field, just all really great examples. Yeah. So good on Garrett Bradbury for adding his name to that really impressive list. I remember Cam Newton won it in 2020, and it was such a a breath of fresh air, I think, for that guy and his kind of personality in that time of change, moving on from Tom Brady. And it represents different things every year, I think, for the voters. And for it to just be a guy who he came in and he has been accountable and he's been the voice of the offensive line. He's kind of been the voice of Drake Maye a little bit. Drake Maye he does his one media availability. That's all he's required to do. But Garrett Bradbury is out there at his locker, and we heard yesterday he said congrats to Drake Maye about the Pro Bowl, and he was like, I don't want to hear that. I don't care. And so being able to hear those stories, like it's valuable to have a guy like that in the locker room. Anytime you get a great story and there are quotes from the locker room, there's almost always a quote from him. So he's good for us media types. He's good for the team. A deserving award.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I thought it hit the nail on the head, if you will. And you had to love the response from the quarterback on the Pro Bowl nod, because it was just so in line with where we started a few minutes ago with Mike Vrabel and the way he felt about it too. Look, kudos to the guys who earned the honor. Again, there's always some things that just make you go, huh? And there were a few of those as well this year. All right, we will talk a little bit about the games coming our way. Of course, it's a slate on Christmas Day. So we got 3 games tomorrow. This will be an interesting one. How many will be tuning in to watch some football? Because these are not the matchups that the league was anticipating that they would be when they set the schedule.